Good morning. I'm sitting here at my desk and there are a large number of reports around the world of ransomware. I just wanted to have a quick update about it. So my name is Ronald Bartels. I'm from Fusion Broadband and we provide SD-WAN products. The SD-WAN products that we provide are inherently more secure than legacy networks because they provide specific attributes that make them more secure. But regardless of that, we'll go to the current ransomware that is hitting organizations. So there are mostly two problems. The one is work habit, and then the second one is firewalls. So we talk about work habits. So many organizations over the years have fallen in love with spreadsheets and Word documents. And which is all good and well. I mean, it's been around there since Multimate, Lotus 123, Amy Pro, then Microsoft came with Office and killed the market. Many organizations require Word documents and Excel shared spreadsheets to execute their process. Now, the problem with this is how it is stored. You store it on your laptop in a directory, and to share it, you store it on a file server. That file server access isn't very well controlled because effectively anybody in the organization typically has access to many of them. And if you're an administrator, you have access to all of them. So what ransomware does when it gets onto your computer, it assimilates your rights, and it's going to go everywhere where you've got rights on your local hard disk and on file servers and lock those files so that you can't use them. Now, people who use different processes via a forced process that goes through a workflow and not Excel or Word aren't going to be knocked by ransomware as those guys that do. So fundamentally, a person's got to get away from doing everything and working exclusively on Word or Excel. Those are just a means to an end, but not the way that you should be running your business process. If you're a sales organization, you should be doing things in a CRM, which is web-based. I mean, there are a large number of cloud-based ones that you can use. If you're doing finances, you shouldn't be using an Excel spreadsheet to balance your numbers. You should be doing it in an ERP, which is web-based and is more secure, and it's inherently a lot better. You're not going to be ransomed by that. So the ransom that's typically happened is your files being locked, and those files are typically Office files in the most cases. They might lock other types of files, but then they have to have specifically directory access to them. And typically you would most often get that on Windows servers as an example. There are some available on Linux, but they're a bit more rare. Fundamental problem is that people are getting ransomware in the enterprise because there is an over-reliance on using files in directories instead of using work processes that sit in the cloud or on web services using more secure methods of working. The second thing is firewalls. I was working on a project at a large telecommunications provider in this area. They got hit by WannaCry. When they got hit by WannaCry, I was not at all surprised that this has happened because they had 4 networks, and amongst the 4 networks, they had multiple firewalls. However, how they worked is that each employee in the organization, which there were thousands, always had a specific IP address at the desks they were sitting at. That IP was given access to the enterprise resources. Okay, that all sounds very good. However, when that person moved between departments or resigned and a new person came in, the IP address remained associated with the desk. and the firewall rules associated with that IP were never deleted. So over time, as people moved desks, one desk location started to get more and more rules, more and more rules, and more access. Effectively, once after a couple of years, a particular desk would have a disproportionate high amount of access all around the organization. It was so bad in this organization that the firewall rules consisted of 2 million lines. And these were very high enterprise grade firewalls. And when they rebooted them, it took about 20 minutes to reboot them. So this was basically firewall carpet rule bombing of note. It is impossible for a single individual to audit that. And most automated systems would have a problem with that. Effectively, that organization had each user on a laptop or a desktop computer having disproportionate access to file servers and systems which they shouldn't have. So when WannaCry hit one person, it flew like wildfire through the organization very rapidly because of those rights. There is absolutely no reason why a firewall rule set needs to be that large. It needs to be normalized and as small as possible. That is how you make it more secure. As soon as it grows too big, it becomes less and less secure. That is not the point of having a firewall, is making yourself less secure. And that is a big problem with a lot of these enterprises who have implemented firewall rules, do not audit them, are too afraid to take them out because something might break, and the repercussions is ransomware. So there is a big thing then that needs to be done, and it's not technology related, it's process related. Wean yourself of using files, wean yourself of using Office for your business process. Rather use technology that is better suited for a business process than that rubbish. The second thing is your firewall rules. Look closely at your firewall rules, because any stupidity that a human makes in your firewall rule is going to remain. And those are the ones that all these ransomware hackers and the guys that are utilizing these holes in your firewall, that is what they are doing. It is a simple process of having your firewall rule set as small as possible and as understandable as possible. If you do not understand your rule set, then that rule set is exploitable. So we need to actually change our way of thinking, and that basically formulates my opinion about why we have got such a big prevalence of ransomware around the world at this moment in time.